This is a video on solving multi-step equations. The steps of solving equations are exactly the same as before. Your first step is to simplify each side of the equality sign. We do this by adding and subtracting like terms. Like terms mean they have the same variable raised to the same power. Step 2 is to isolate the variable term to one side of the equation. We do this again by adding and subtracting like terms, but this time we're doing it on opposite sides of the equality sign. So when we do this, we're changing our sign when we go from one side of the equal sign to the other. So you're always going to do the opposite. Step 3, you're going to solve for your variable. Remember, your variable must always be positive. And we do this by multiplying or dividing by the numerical coefficient of the variable. That's the number in front of it. And then step 4 is to check your answer. You should know if your answer is correct because you should follow this step. Okay, so if we look at this first question, we have that negative 12 times x minus 12 equals negative 9 times 1 plus 7x. So our first step is to simplify each side of the equal sign. And we do that by following the orders of operation. And the orders of operation here say that work inside the parentheses first, but we can't combine x and 12 because they're not like terms. And we can't combine 1 and 7x because those aren't like terms either. So our next step would be to distribute this negative 12. And we distribute by multiplying across terms. So we're going to have negative 12 times x. And then we've got this minus sign, negative 12 times 12. Okay, and then on the right side, we've got negative 9 times 1 plus negative 9 times 7x. Okay, and now we're going to use those wonderful mathematical skills that you have. So negative 12 times x is negative 12x minus negative 12 times 12 is negative 144. So then we're going to continue to simplify this side, and we'll have negative 12x plus 144. And this equals negative 9 times 1 is negative 9 plus negative 9 times 7x is negative 63x. So we have that this equals negative 9 minus 63x. Okay, so we have now finished step 1. We have simplified each side of the equality sign. And now we need to isolate our variable term to one side of our equation. And we do this by adding and subtracting like terms on different sides of the equal sign. So we're going to do the opposite or the inverse operations here. Let's move this negative 63x from the right side to the left side. And when we move something from the one side of our equal sign to the other, we use the inverse operation. So negative 63x plus 63x would cancel them out. But whatever we do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to add 63x to this negative 12x. And when we do that, we get a positive 51x. Okay? So we have 51x plus 144 equals negative 9. So our next step is going to be to subtract this 144 from each side. And if I do that, I have negative 9 minus 144, which is negative 153. Equals the positive 144 minus 144, those cancel each other out. This is 51x. So I have 51x equals negative 153. And if I divide both sides by 51, I get that x equals negative 3. And that would be my answer here. Now I can substitute this in and check. So if I do that, I've got, and I'm going to check in a different color. Let's check in purple. So if I substitute a negative 3 in, I have negative 12 times negative 3 minus 12 and that should equal negative 9 times 1 plus 7 times negative 3. So negative 3 minus 12 is negative 15, so I have negative 12 times negative 15, and that should equal negative 9 times 1 plus a negative 21. So negative 12 times negative 15 is going to be a positive, so 12 times 15, I've got 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, so this is 180. So this is a positive 180. Now over here I have negative 9 times negative 20, and a negative times a negative again is a positive. So I have 180 equals 180, so I know that my answer is correct. Okay, so if I move on to another problem here, if I look at if I look at 12 times 2k plus 11 equals 12 times 2k plus 12. Okay, I have 12 times 2k, which is 24k, and 12 times 11, that's the one that I can never remember, is 132, and then I have 12 times 2k is 24k, and 12 times 12 is 144. And now if I subtract 24k from each side, because I can't do anything else, I get that 132 equals 144. And I know this isn't true. 132 can never equal 144. So this is letting you know that there's no solution. Okay, so sometimes you'll encounter this and there's no solution.